This is Gene Montrastelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 536, originally aired August 10th, 2022. Hi everyone, I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. Today we are going to talk about and do a little tapping for how we can show up in the world in a way that is kind, but not having that as the pure driving factor. And we'll talk about that in just a moment, why it's important not to only be kind. Before we do that, two quick announcements. Number one, we have a free 10-part guide on how you can use tapping to eliminate self-sabotage. All you need to do is go to tappingqa.com, click on that big blue button, enter your email address, and every day for the next 10 days, I'll send you a little bite-sized chunk, something that you can use to make it easier for you to take action and be more present in your day as you're navigating your day. And then at the end of those 10 days, you can pick the one or two that are most useful for you, implement them, and use them in your daily life. Second, I'd like to thank all of the supporters of the Tapping Q&A podcast. This is a group of people who voluntarily support the podcast so we can keep producing this high-quality content for you that you can consume absolutely free. The really cool part is 10% of all the contributions that come in to support the podcast, we actually loan out through Kiva, which is a microloan site. So every single month, we're supporting over 60 small business owners all over the world, because when the loan comes out, it gets paid back. We loan it out again. So not only are people supporting those small businesses, but we get to multiply that every single month by relending the money out over and over again. If you'd like to support the podcast, if you'd like to receive some amazing gifts, if you'd like to be a part of us making a difference in this way, all you need to do is go to tappingqa.com/support. A few weeks ago, I was having a conversation with one of my clients, and she was in a situation where she was trying to navigate two things. One was a very high value for the way that she showed up in the world, and the other was a high value about how she takes care of herself. And this is the conflict that existed. The high value for the way that she showed up in the world was wanting to move from a place and a disposition of always acting from kindness, which is a great thing, and that's a very high value, and I really appreciate the fact that she tries to live out of that particular integrity. The other piece that she was trying to balance was the fact that she had a number of relationships in her life where people who were treating her very, very poorly, and she wanted to change dramatically those relationships, and in some cases, she wanted to end them. And so you can see the natural struggle that exists of wanting to be kind and wanting to speak truth. Because sometimes being truthful means that we're going to say things to the people around us that they might not want to hear, and sometimes they might even hear them hurtfully. You know, I want to be in a circumstance where I'm kind and generous and thoughtful and take care of the people around me. And how do I tell someone that they are hurting me? How am I telling someone that their lifestyle choices of how they're investing their time and attention is actually making it harder for me to be fully present in the world? And what I realized in that conversation is we can actually hold two ideas simultaneously present as we are moving forward. And what I mean by that is the goal isn't to just purely be kind, but it is also to be safe. And this idea of safety in the world and safety in what we do is something that's really been at the forefront of my mind. And I think this comes from the maturing of the tapping and the transformational community of wanting to make sure that we're thinking about how we navigate the world in a safe way, not just in a transforming way. And so when I think about the way that I show up in the world, I definitely want to show up from a place of kindness, as long as I am safe in the way that I am doing that. And oftentimes when we hear that word safe, it's like, well, is it life-threatening? No. Well, then I guess I'm safe. But that's not it. Like, there's lots of safety. There is emotional safety. There is creative safety. There's intellectual safety. There is the safety of my physical space. There's the safety of my physical body. And so it's important that when we are showing up in the world, that we do lead with kindness in all that we do. But leading with kindness does not mean that we are responsible for the emotional response of the people around us when we are making choices. And I have a feeling that a number of you need to hear this again. We are not responsible for the emotional response of the people around us. One of the things I talk about a lot when I'm thinking about my clients is I'm responsible to my clients. I'm not responsible for my clients. Responsible to means I show up in a thoughtful, deliberate way. I am fully present when we are doing our work. I'm continually trying to hone my resources and skills so that I can be a better helper when I show up. But being responsible to them does not mean that I am responsible for their success. I am responsible for their transformation. I am responsible for their healing. I am responsible for their emotional state, because I can't be responsible for any of those things. They are responsible for that. And so as a practitioner, I hold space to allow them to think about things. I create opportunities for them to reflect on where they are and to understand what is there. And sometimes that means I speak hard truths. And sometimes it is hard to hear hard truths. But if I'm going to be present in the way that I want to as a helper, I need to do exactly that. And it's no different in any of our other relationships. There are lots of choices that I'm going to make that are going to disappoint the people around me. Because my desires for the world and the people around me's desires for the world aren't exactly the same. You know, oftentimes I joke about the fact that the people in our life want us to change as long as they don't have to. And that's not 100% true, but on some level there is truth inside of that. And so as we are showing up in the world as kind, thoughtful, helping humans, it's important to recognize that we are not responsible for the people around us, and we're particularly not responsible for their emotional response. And oftentimes we think, well, if I say this, they're going to be disappointed, and I'm not being kind by making them be disappointed. If I'm speaking the truth about my life, I'm not making you disappointed. You're choosing to be disappointed because I'm not living up to the expectations that you have or that you want from me. And so by thinking in that particular way, I am able to make more thoughtful choices. I'm not responsible for the people in my life. I'm responsible to the people in my life. And so that means that I can be kind and have barriers and boundaries. It means I can be kind and still speak the truth. It means that I can be kind and disagree with you. It means I can be kind and even disagree with you in a heated manner as we have a difficult conversation. And for most of the people listening to this, you're a natural helper. You are aware of the way that your actions and your words impact others. And that is a beautiful thing, and I never want you to lose that beautiful thing. And at the exact same time, I also want you to recognize the fact that you are allowed to be kind and not lose yourself. And because you are a helper, you're more likely to be kind and to lose yourself, because you're actually thinking of the people around you. So let's just do a little tapping to kind of transform and put ourselves in a space where we can be both of those things. We can be kind and we can be safe. So just move from tapping point to tapping point, repeating after me. Take a nice big deep breath. I recognize the fact my actions impact others. My choices impact others. My words impact others. The way I show up in the world impacts others. And it is good that I'm thoughtful about that fact. And it is good that I think about how my actions impact others. But just because I am aware that my actions and words impact others, it does not mean I put everyone else first. It does not mean that I put everyone ahead of me. It does not mean I put myself last. It does not mean I put my wants last. It does not mean that I put my desires last. It simply means that I can be aware of how my actions impact others while still making thoughtful choices, while maintaining thoughtful boundaries, while speaking hard truths. My goal is not purely kindness. My goal is kindness and safety. My goal is kindness and authenticity. My goal is kindness and still being fully me. I know there are choices that I'm going to make that other people aren't going to like. I know there are things that I'm going to say that other people aren't going to like. I'm allowed to do things that other people do not like and still be a kind person and still be a thoughtful person and still be a deliberate person and still be a fully present person. I give myself permission to be kind without putting myself last all the time. Nice big deep breath. Give me a big stretch. Oh. Now, as we went through that, I would be willing to bet that there is some relief, and I've poked a bunch of buttons inside of that. And you're recognizing that, well, in this one relationship, and it's really hard. And I'm not saying this is easy. That's the reason why we tap on something like this. We tap on something like this so that we can be clear and thoughtful when we are making those choices. It's okay to think about someone else. It's okay to think about how we show up in the world. And we can do it in such a way that it's not to our own detriment that we are completely lost inside of that. So as we tap through that, if we poked a few buttons, go back, tap on that again. Spend some time regularly, daily, for the next couple of days, just being present to this idea of I can be kind, I can be thoughtful, I can deliberate in the world, and have boundaries that are healthy for me in big and small ways. So give that a try. Tap on it again. I'd love to hear your feedback on it. I'd love to hear the tail enders that came up. So maybe we can create some more audios in the future to respond to those. It's a learning process for me as well. So your questions, your comments, your feedback, your pushback is always appreciated. I can always be reached at tappingqna.com/contact, or you can email us directly at support@tappingqna.com. I see all of those emails, even though it's a support email address. I'm able to manage everything there. Please let me know your thoughts. If you know someone in your life who'd be interested in a conversation like this or a little tapping like this, please be our ambassadors. Pass it along. Don't spam your inbox and send it to everybody in the world, but you might know one or two people who'd really appreciate this thoughtful conversation today. And the beautiful thing is, even if they don't listen to the podcast, but they get an email from you saying, hey, I was thinking of you. I want your day to be a little better. That will make their day better just because you reached out in that particular way. If you haven't done so already, I'd really encourage you to subscribe to the podcast, as we're going to be publishing on a more consistent schedule, working our way through the rest of the calendar year. In podcasting parlance, subscribe is free. All you need to do is go to your favorite audio app of choice. You can go into Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, Overcast, basically anywhere you listen to audio online. All you need to do is search for Tapping Q&A, click subscribe, click follow, and most importantly, turn on those notifications so that when a new episode comes out, you're notified right away and you can enjoy the tapping goodness. For the Tapping Q&A podcast, this is Gene Montrastelli. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye. The Tapping Q&A podcast is copyright Gene Montrastelli Tapping Q&A. All views expressed by guests are those of the guests and not necessarily of Gene Montrastelli and Tapping Q&A.